We are now in the home stretch before the end of the beta selection process for Mobile 1.3, and as we approach July the 11th, I wanted to make one last video with what some of the Relogic staff have had to say this week about the selection process for this upcoming beta. And I'm going to begin with Tunnel King, who posted just the other day the following, quote, "If you don't already have the mobile version, I would think that would be a severe detriment to being chosen for beta. I'm fairly sure they want people who are already familiar with the mobile version. This isn't intended to be a way for people to get a free copy of the game." So there you have it. I would imagine that most people who are applying already do own the game, but there you go. Tunnel King made one other comment in response to someone saying, "Yay, Terraria 1.3.6 mobile at 11th of July for beta testers. I'm so hyped." Tunnel King wrote, "It will be 1.3.0.7 to start, not all of the latest content." So that was a bit of a buzzkill, but he certainly did temper our expectations. So 1.3.0.7, which is a mouthful to say, is going to be the version you get if you're one of the lucky beta testers. Anyway, our usual suspect, Loki, posted the lion's share of commentary about the upcoming beta and the selection process. And in response to someone saying, "I assume there is an established testing platform for Amazon Kindle Fire users," Loki wrote, "As shared previously, Amazon is an offshoot of the Android branch. So, once the Android branch is established, the Amazon offshoot can be addressed. Have to have the core done first. I'm not sure if that will be the case for the beta period as of yet. From my understanding, I could be wrong." In response to, "Will there be an option of 5 slots in the hotbar instead of 10? Loki wrote, "Not currently, no." And then someone wrote, "If I don't get it, I'll be a little bit upset." And Loki wrote to that, "It is going to be very selective." He capitalized very. "Cannot stress that enough. There are literally thousands of entries, so no matter what, it's nothing to get upset about." But that's not all that Loki posted. Someone wrote, "Does that mean that I have a good chance to get in, or is it little? Everyone knows on this forum that I want to test the beta, but if I don't, I won't be that upset because the update is shortly after that. Also, how many people will be selected?" To that, Loki wrote, "There are literally tens of thousands of entries. So, I mean, you have as good a chance as any, but the beta is not going to be in the thousands of people, so it just depends on your luck." So tens of thousands of entries. I'm sure many of you watching have thrown your hat in the ring to try to get in. And he said that the beta is not going to be in the thousands of people, so presumably it's just a matter of several hundred, if that, who will be selected. So it's not going to be everyone gets in. It's not going to be a large-scale beta. So I don't know what the overall odds are, but it sounds like your odds are less than 10%. Anyway, there was a little bit more from Loki. In a spree of comments, he answered a few questions. Someone said, "Finally, soon the Twitter comments section will be bearable." And he wrote, "Nah, it will just become, when is 1.3.5? Someone asked, "Am I finally going to be able to dye and hide my accessories in this update? The lightning boots are ugly looking, in my opinion." Yep. Someone else wrote, "I have 2 questions about the beta I hope to be picked for. First, if you're on iOS, how will you be able to install it? I can see on Android, but not on iOS. And secondly, how many people will be picked for the beta? Hoping I'm one of those people. Excited that Mobile 1.3 is very close." Loki wrote to that, "There are established beta testing avenues for both iOS and Android. That is not a worry." He didn't answer question number 2, interestingly enough. But I think from his other responses, you get the drift of what the answer would have been. Someone wrote, "So that means they give us prepared characters then?" Oh well, our maxed characters can be used when the actual update rolls out. To that, Loki responded, "No, it will be an update to your app. Your existing saves should and will transfer over as a part of the process. The system does keep copies of the old 1.2 era saves as well, just in case. And then some smartass said, "Why can't we all get the beta?" Exclamation point, question mark. And Loki wrote, "Because that is utter sheer chaos for a team this size, and we do not want a ton of things leaking." And so from that response, although it's not explicit, it sort of hints that there's going to be some kind of a non-disclosure agreement. So although we don't have confirmation yet, it wouldn't surprise me if those who are lucky enough to get into the beta are essentially sworn to secrecy to keep interesting features from leaking out. But again, it's not set in stone. It's just a fairly good indication that there's going to be some form of secrecy for those who get in. And then one last question. Hey, I've got a question for future purposes. What if you win the beta registration, but you don't own a copy of Terraria Mobile? Would this cause a problem? Loki wrote to that, "Yes, you must have a copy of the paid version of the app for beta to work." So, in no uncertain terms, you need to own the mobile 1.2 version if you're going to get into this beta. They don't want people unfamiliar with the game getting into the beta. They don't want people who don't own the game getting in, probably just in case they end up deciding not to buy a copy and essentially waste their beta slot. So, those of you who own it are going to have a leg up on those who don't, but your odds, as the other responses indicated, are still less than 10%. So if you get in, congrats, because you're quite lucky statistically for having won. But we'll know around noon on the 11th of July. Anyway, that's it for now. I don't know whether any last-minute updates are going to come from Loki or anyone else from Relogic, but that's the last spree of commentary I expect between now and the 11th. Thanks for watching, and I'll be sure to post an update probably sometime on the 11th with all the news and shenanigans that go on that day. So take care, guys. See you again soon.